Paul. Let me just start out by saying, what you've done is very serious. Simon left school early today. And you're very lucky that he and his parents aren't pressing charges.
Simon was being a straight-up bastard.
Paul?
It's quite all right, Mrs. Sanchez. I'm interested in hearing your side of the story, Paul.
Okay. Here's my side. Simon kept running his mouth, insulting me, getting practically the whole school to think I'm a bully. I'm sure that little punk planned the whole thing.
And why do you think that?
Because he's been working with Rufus. Isn't it obvious? Why would he of all other people want to talk to me? Why would Harrison try to provoke me earlier? I'll tell you why. It was to give Simon an excuse to have that conversation with me.
I'm aware of the incident with Harrison earlier today. And from what I was told, he was defending another student when you lashed out at him. You know, Paul, when I spoke to Simon earlier, he told me that he was ashamed that he upset you.
Then why can't he be here now?
Simon believes that there should be some distance between you two.
No. It's because he's a coward. Always has been. Ever since I first met him in elementary school, he'd always abandon me at the first sign of trouble.
Are you sure about that, Paul? It sounds to me like Simon is a really good friend to have.
Yeah, well, I've known him longer than you have. He might act like he's a good friend. But the moment he thinks he's in danger, he'll betray you. That's what he does. He's nothing but a traitor and a coward, and that's all there's to it. Mom, Dad, Papa, let's get out of here. This is stupid.
Hold on, Cocker, we're not finished here. Sit back down. So, Catherine, what do you intend to do about the kids accusing Paul of being a bully? After this incident, hasn't my grandson only proven the rumors true?
We can't control the opinions of the other students. And I assure you, I've spoken to the ones who did tease Paul earlier today, and have given them detention. Our school has a strict anti-bullying policy, and their behavior was in violation of it.
How do you plan to deal with it in the long term then? I know what kids are like. Gossip travels fast.
The policy dictates handing out detentions, and in some cases, suspensions, to any student who violates it. Which unfortunately, brings me to this decision. I'm sorry, but after today's incident, Paul is to be suspended for 3 days.
What? That's crap.
I'm sorry, Paul, but it has to be done. Now ideally, this would warrant a week's suspension. But I'm shortening it to 3 days, since you're new and this is your first offense. And hopefully, it will be your last.
I'm sorry, but you can't just tell my son that he's suspended, and then say he's fortunate that it wasn't for longer.
I know the situation isn't ideal, Mr. Sanchez. But these are the consequences of Paul's actions. It would be the same for any other student.
So is there anything else, or can we go now?
I suppose that's it. Unless you or your family have any other concerns.
Will this be on Paul's permanent record?
Yes, Mrs. Sanchez. Unfortunately, this will be on Paul's record, and will follow him until the end of high school.
I didn't do much during my suspension. Just kind of sat around playing video games.
Want Paul to play with me?
Not right now. Talia would always want me to play with her, and I should have. But I would always refuse. For most of those 3 days, I just didn't want anything to do with anyone. But on the last day, my grandfather said he wanted me to take a walk with him in the park. So why are we here, Bampa? Is this about my suspension?
This is about everything that's going on right now, Paul. Since you go back to school tomorrow, I want to teach you some things that you may need to know. The other students aren't treating you very nicely. And it doesn't sound like the school board is in favor of you either. So I'm gonna teach you a few tricks that I learned when I was in the Marines.
Are you gonna teach me how to kick Rufus's ass? And Harrison's? And Simon's again?
Well, no, not exactly. And that's the first thing. I don't want you to use what I teach you to hurt people. Nobody likes a bully. Now, is my grandson a bully?
No. I'll never become a bully.
Exactly. My grandson is no bully. He's a wonderful young man.
So, when do we start?
Okay, first of all, you're short, just as I was at your age. But like me, you will also grow taller in time. But for now, you must learn how to outthink your opponent, and make a quick getaway.
But, Bumpa, if I'm in a fight, don't I want to win?
I thought the same thing when I was your age too, Cocker. But life isn't about just winning or losing. It's about surviving, and moving forward. It's about living to fight another day.
What if I can't escape though?
Then, you make an escape. Your total objective is to get away, no matter what. Here, I'll give you an example. All right, Cocker, think. Your opponent has you from behind. You can't punch or kick them from the front. What do? Remember, they're bigger and stronger than you. Both of your arms are being held so you can't use them. So you have two options. You can either headbutt them, but I find that dangerous and not really workable into situations like this. Your head is vulnerable, and the headbutt will be less effective. However, despite it being risky, they might loosen their grip on you as they dodge, allowing you to break away. The other option is, you stomp on your opponent's foot as hard as you can. More often than not, it'll cause them to drop their guard for a brief moment, allowing you to break free. Of course, there's always the chance that stomping won't have the desired effect. But in this case, we're only practicing, so I'll pretend to drop my guard. Now, stomp. Very good. Now come on back. Now remember, escaping is the most important thing. No matter what people will say about you, at least you'll have survived. Now, I'm going to show you the best ways to punch and kick on the offensive. Ready?
Yeah.
So that's how you were able to hold your own against Mason, even though he was bigger than you.
Yep. My grandfather taught me everything I know. Anyway, we were there at the park till the sun started going down, and I learned all kinds of good techniques. We kept at it, until we were all tired out.
Well, Cocker, that's it. You did very good today.
Yeah, it was pretty intense, but thank you for doing this. Next time Rufus comes knocking, I'll be ready for him.
Good. But just remember, don't ever let your anger get the best of you. Fight only if you have to. And don't ever let yourself become a bully. The techniques I taught you today should only be used to help yourself and others.
I know. My anger won't get the best of me. And neither will Rufus.
Excellent. Now what do you say I buy you a hot chocolate? After all that, I think we both could use one.
That sounds good. And with that, my 3-day suspension was over, and it was back to school the next day.
Good luck, Paul. Remember, we're all rooting for you.
I'll show them, Dad. They're not gonna win.
That's my boy.
I'm not gonna get angry. I'm not gonna let them win.
That sure must have been a tense moment.
It was.
So did you run into Simon?
Not until later on in the day, when I was about to head to the cafeteria. What I saw definitely surprised me. There he was, socializing with some kids I'd never seen before. I could only stand there watching, as he laughed and joked with these guys. Just like we used to do, when we were friends.
Oh, careful there, Paul.
You did that on purpose, didn't you, asshole?
What do you mean? This was just an accident. So it looks like your old buddy Simon moved on, and got some new friends. I can tell you wanna kick my ass, don't you? Well, just so you know, if you come at me again, all it'll do is prove who's more petty. You accuse me and others of bullying, but all you do is show what a hypocrite you are. You do the exact same things that you say you're against. I offered to help you back up. My good friend Rufus is being respectful and keeping his distance, which me and a lot of others disagree with, by the way. But you, on the other hand, you can't control your emotions. You act out like a toddler throwing a tantrum. You know it's too bad that Simon, the one who used to be your friend, happens to be the latest victim of your aggression.
So Simon is working with you. I knew it.
He told us a few things about your bullying.
I'm not a bully. You're only setting me up, just so you can have a reason to bully me.
Like I said, the fact that you have to resort to violence shows just how petty you are. It's a good thing that Simon broke away from you. And you're lucky that nobody's confronted your scrawny ass until now.
So this is a confrontation then? You want me to pound your ass through that wall?
My friends and I are here to put a stop to your stalking, jealousy, senseless aggression, and bullying. I for one won't stand for your stupidity any longer. And I encourage everyone in here to take a stand and say no to Paul. Let's show him that we will not put up with his BS.
Right on, Harrison. We don't want that midget loser here anymore.
See, you must stand out to build these fellow students. They can be beaten, and together, we will come out of this stronger.
And it only got worse from there. For the next several months, it was more of the same. I was tripped in the halls, yelled at, provoked, you name it. Everyone was trying to do everything they could to make me lash out. And Harrison was always there. And no matter how many times my family and I went to the principal and asked her to put a stop to it, she'd say pretty much the same thing as before. That she couldn't control the opinions of the other students. Whenever I saw Simon, we didn't say anything to each other. He just gave me a kind of sorrowful look, and would keep walking. And whenever I saw Rufus, he'd just ignore me completely. One day, 2 kids tried to jump me right outside the school. But just as I was about to use some of the moves my grandfather showed me, Mrs. Delgado showed up. And I was right back in the principal's office.
I honestly cannot believe it. This was the 3rd incident involving Paul this week alone. If you're not fans of him, fine. But you cannot attack him for no reason.
But Mrs. Delgado, Paul provoked us earlier today. And others too. Yesterday, it was him who tried to attack us. And if it wasn't for Harrison, we would have been seriously hurt.
And when he attacked us today, we were only defending ourselves.
That's not true at all.
Regardless, I'm going to have to give the 2 of you detention for fighting. As for Paul, there have been so many incidents this year, with students claiming that he picked a fight with them. After investigating each of these incidents, we found that it was Paul who was attacked first. So until we've investigated today's incident further, Paul, you're free to leave.
So they got detention, but of course, it did nothing to put a stop to it. After school the next day, I saw Harrison continuing to spread lies to other students.
As you can see, the 2 students I protected yesterday were provoked into a fight by Paul. Well, speak of the devil. So what do you have to say for yourself, Paul? Are you enjoying abusing the system and getting innocent students in trouble?
Oh, piss off, Harrison. I'm going home. Don't you have anything better to do with your time?
See how arrogant he is. Unlike myself, Paul disrupts the school and destroys our community, while I'm the one keeping us all together. Look at him. Assaulting his best friend, picking fights, getting good students sent to detention. Unless we come together and stand up to this punk, he'll continue to destroy what we got. And he won't stop until our school is in ruins.
You gonna let him just walk away?
Bring him back here. He still hasn't answered my question, has he?
Shit.
You see where he went.
Now.
Damn. Come on.
Well, thank God you were able to finally lose them.
Yeah. But they almost did catch me a few times. I thought I was dumb for sure.
So what happened after that? Did your parents do anything about it?
Well, my family was really upset about the whole thing. I think even Talia, as young as she was, knew something was wrong too. She'd always come up and give me a hug when I got home. There were times when I'd come home almost in tears. But I held them back. I tried not to cry in front of her, so she wouldn't cry either. But no matter what, they just wouldn't let up. I remember the last day before Christmas break, these 2 idiots tried to insult my grandparents when they picked me up from school.
Hey Cocker. How is school today?
All right.
Well, let's go. Tonight we're gonna take the whole family to drive around and see the Christmas lights. How's that sound?
Cool.
Check it out. Looks like the old fart just adopted a pet mouse.
Easy, Cocker. Remember, don't let your anger control you.
But, didn't you hear what they said?
I did. And I'll go talk to them. Just wait in the car. I couldn't help overhearing that remark. Now, what makes you boys think you can say these things about people you barely know? Look at yourselves. You're going after my grandson, just because one person said some horrible things about him.
That's bullshit. We've seen Paul go after a ton of students with our own eyes.
That doesn't sound at all like my grandson. You cockers are only following the crowd, just like the rest of them. And one day, you'll see what all that hatred and peer pressure will get you.
Well, I know I'm not gonna end up an old deadbeat like you, Grams.
Kids these days. No respect at all.
I can't believe those guys would disrespect their elders like that. God. Sometimes my generation really pisses me off.
That's not even the worst part. I actually thought everything would cool down during the Christmas break, but it didn't. People still shouted insults when they saw me, calling me a bully and all this other crap. They even threw eggs and tomatoes at our house during the night. When break was over and we went back to school, I reached my breaking point. I was totally fed up with all the BS and I had to do something. I had to make a stand. It was sometime in February. When
Are you okay, Paul? If this is too upsetting, you don't have to go on.
No, it's okay. I'll finish. So before school, I was in my room, thinking of different ways I could get back at Rufus and Harrison, and make them beg for mercy. They better get ready, because after this, they'll both be dead meat. My grandfather drove me to school, and of course, I didn't tell him a single word about me wanting to get some payback.
As always, Cocker, survive. Don't let them win. We all love you.
I will. Thanks, Bompa. I faced the day with renewed energy. I refuse to let anyone's provocations get to me.
Hey, Paul. I hope you're still not bullying your little sister.
Yeah, whatever, pal. Go have sex with your dog. Even when Harrison tried to provoke me, I just smiled at him and walked away, because I knew that later on, I'd get back at him. When school finally let out, I stood near the front looking for Harrison. I spotted him leaving the school, so I picked up my bag and began to follow him. During the whole walk, I imagined finding where Harrison lived, then throwing big rocks through the windows, and Harrison huddling in the corner, blubbering like a big wimp, while the rocks pelted him over and over. The thought was hilarious to me. I noticed that Harrison's walk home was much longer than it was when I followed Rufus. I found it kind of odd, but still, I kept going. I watched him as he went into a vacant lot behind an old closed-down restaurant. I was curious, so of course, I followed him.
I knew you would follow me in here. So predictable and naive you are.
You all been getting away with your shit for too long. I'm sick and tired of it. No more talk. No more games. Let's end this now.
Oh, we're gonna end it alright, midget. You lost. And believe me, this ass kicking will be even worse than what that coward Rufus let you get away with. Poor little Paul. Where is Bompa now? Where is Mommy and Daddy to report the mean old bullies? Don't worry. We will knock their baby out. But we will give him something to remember. Grab him. Both of you stay back. This little midget is mine. Alright, you little bitch. Let's see what other sissy moves you got.
And what followed was the most brutal fight of my entire life.
Man, I hope you at least weren't hurt too badly.
Well, for a while, I got in a few really good punches and kicks. But they weren't enough to stop Harrison. And soon, he had me on the ground. It was only a few seconds. But it felt like it went on forever. I took everything Harrison dished out. And while his fists were pounding into my body over and over again, all I could think about was my parents, my grandparents, Talia. How Rufus did me wrong. How Simon betrayed me. How nearly the whole school turned against me. I didn't even care about the pain. But thinking about those things was what got me through it all. And the next thing I knew, Harrison had finally stopped pounding me. He stood up and looked down at me with a smirk on his face. Even though I was all banged up, I saw that Harrison's guard was down, and I quickly took advantage of that. With the small amount of strength I had, I stood up, shoved Harrison to the ground as hard as I could, and took off running. I ran as far and as fast as I could, and I didn't dare look back. I was running purely on adrenaline, and I didn't know if Harrison and the others were chasing after me or not, but I didn't dwell on that. All I cared about was making it back home. Finally, I got to my house. I couldn't get to the front door fast enough. Mom, Dad. Let me in. It's me.
Oh my God.
Paul, what happened?
Those guys. They beat me up.
Paul. First of all, you were very brave when you stood up to Harrison yesterday. That took guts. And I'm proud of you for not letting him get the better of you.
Dad, let's not remind him of that.
Right, of course. The thing is, Paul, it's become too dangerous for you here in Wilford Heights. And we believe that a change of scenery will do you some good.
We've all agreed that Tyndale Valley is a much safer area.
And apparently also a very interesting place to live, to say the least. Remember, babe, we saw that live news report a couple years ago about 2 young girls leading about 20 people on a wild chase all around town?
Oh yes. But aside from wild and crazy foot chases, Tyndale Valley will be an ideal place for you to start over with a clean slate, Paul. You'll get to meet a lot of great kids there. Moving to a new location can really help one's state of mind.
We know this is a heavy decision, sweetie. But we all want what's best for you.
What about our house?
Pa and I will watch the house and take care of it. And we'll come visit you in Tyndale Valley as often as we can.
What's gonna happen to yours and Mom's jobs?
Oh, we'll still have our jobs. We'll have to commute here and back every day, but we'll always be at home for you and Talia.
Do you think Talia would even want to move away? I mean, she'd have to leave her playgroup and everything.
Well, why not ask her?
Talia, do you want to move to Tyndale Valley?
Move.
Yeah. It means we change houses. We'll be living in a new place.
Does moving mean Pa won't cry anymore? I don't like to see you cry.
Well, Talia, I can't really promise that. Nobody can stop crying. No matter where you are, there will always be people and things that hurt you.
Then, why do we move?
Because, even if sometimes we might be sad, we'll still meet a lot of nice people and have a lot of fun.
What if we don't have fun? Will we move again?
I don't know, Talia. I don't even know if I want to move. But, I guess if we do, there's still a chance it could work out. Even if something bad happens. Man, I just don't know. I mean, you can't expect me to just change my whole life around, just like that?
Well, there are a few things that you need to know about this opportunity, Cocker. Your new house in Tyndale Valley, it's a rental, courtesy of a friend of mine. He's agreed to give us a special discount. But, it's only temporary. You won't be in Tyndale Valley forever.
So, are you saying we'll have to come back here eventually?
We'll keep you in Tyndale Valley for as long as we can. But yes, there will be a point where you will all need to move back here.
But don't worry, Cocker. Playground politics tend to die pretty quickly. Once you move back, whenever that'll be, people will have moved on, you'll have matured, and everything will return to normal.
Well, when do I have to decide by?
That's another thing. It's now or never. My friend needs to hear back from me by tonight, so he can get the house ready. He's here in California for only a few days, then he's headed back home to London.
I don't know. I mean, Tyndale Valley sounds great and all. But, I grew up in Wilford Heights. How do I even choose?
Well, it's not really fair for us to tell you how to choose, Paul. It's entirely up to you.
Just know that whatever you choose, we'll support you all the way.
Take it from me. Decision-making is annoying. But as I learned, it's the most difficult part of any transition. Once you decide, the pieces always fall into place.
That's right.
Your grandfather lived in Chile for 3 years, then moved back to Montana, and then came here. If there's anyone who knows a thing or two about making decisions and moving, it's him.
And to be honest, Paul, it seems to me like you already made your decision.
Then, I'll go ahead and say it. I choose to move.
It's okay, sweetie. All of your toys and everything will be coming with us too.
Talia, it's okay. Don't cry. Remember what I said about Tyndale Valley? About the nice people? And all the fun we'll have there?
Okay.
Well, it looks like that's everything. Good job to us all for getting everything packed in one night.
So when are Bump and Maurice coming?
They'll be here any minute now.
I think I'll go outside and wait for them.
I hear you were going after me and Harrison. Why? All this time I've been staying away.
Because you got people to bully me. And you got my only friend to betray me.
You say that. Yet, you have no proof. Perhaps those were just the consequences of your actions.
Well, what about when Harrison and your friends attacked me, for no reason, and constantly provoked me?
First of all, I don't ever remember an instance where Harrison, or anyone associated with me, ever attacked you. In fact, I explicitly stated that they were not to hurt you in any way. Had I listened to Harrison, you would be in a hospital right now.
Then explain to me how just 2 days ago, they beat me up behind an old restaurant, and left me running scared for my life.
That never happened. If it did, I'd have been told about it. Don't twist the story.
What about all those times I was provoked in the hallways? Like the countless times Harrison told everyone that I was a spoiled brat who couldn't control his emotions.
He was merely making an observation. I'm not sure how that qualifies as provoking you.
You do realize that Harrison also called you a coward, right? Is that an observation too?
Harrison and I have our differences, but he has since apologized and re-earned my trust. Unlike you and Simon, we are good friends, who have a mutual respect for each other. And we don't let one simple disagreement destroy our friendship.
Oh, whatever. I know the truth about you and your friends. You're all nothing but pathetic, cowardly bullies. And you? You're just some asshole who lives with a drunk loser.
You say that. But we were the ones who made the school community what it is today. Healthy and active.
You know what, Rufus? You're a real stuck-up bastard who believes he can never be wrong. I was bullied by that trash you call friends since the beginning of the school year, and you never did anything about it. You say you've made the school community healthy, when all you really did was cause the very bullying you claim to prevent. And you know what? While you're here bullying people and living with your piece of shit drunk dad who throws bottles at you, I'm gonna be living in Tyndale Valley, meeting new people and enjoying life. Now if you don't mind, I'm out of here. I have better things to do than deal with a homeless loser, who is to bully smaller and weaker kids to feel big. What are you gonna do, beat me up? Did I piss the poor bully off? Good. You deserve it.
The next time you insult someone, at least do it properly. You know what you sound like? You sound like a toddler who just learned how to call someone a poo-poo head. This is why Harrison and Simon said you can't control your emotions. Whenever someone disagrees with you, you react just like a spoiled brat. And to answer your question, no, you didn't piss me off. To be honest, everyone is sick and tired of you. They are all happy to see you run away with your tail between your legs, to nice little Tyndale Valley, where no one can hurt you. That's exactly why you're so spoiled. Whenever something goes wrong, your nice family moves you away and shelters you. They give in to every one of your demands. So go on. Run off to Tyndale. And go cry to your mommy about your ego. You see, that's the difference between us, Paul. I face my problems head on. And you? You run away from them, cowering in fear, like a little pussy. All because you can't bring yourself to face the consequences of your actions. Goodbye, Paul. And remember, you only have yourself to blame for this.
Hi there, Cocker. What's the matter? Sad about leaving?
I guess.
Well, since we might not see you for a while, we brought you a little going away present.
Oh, 3DS. Thanks, Bumpa. Thanks, Maurice.
Don't mention it, Cocker. I'm told it's already preloaded with games, which I'm sure will help with the stress of them move.
So when will we see you again?
Oh, I'm sure it'll be soon. We'll even treat everyone to Sizzler. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Come and give us a hug.
Well, Tyndale Valley, here we come. I sure hope Doug's friend Mr. Richmond has the house ready.
Oh, I'm sure he has.
How long is it gonna take to get there?
About 25 minutes.
Man, I love our new house. This yard is a lot bigger than our old one.
Yeah. Okay, now you try to catch me.
No problem, I always catch you.
Watch out for the kids, honey.
Robbie, Jimmy. Don't go running out into the street.
We're not.
Julie, boys, we need some extra hands over here.
Okay, Mom.
And so, there it is. That's how I came to be here.
Paul. Honestly, I don't know what to say. What you went through back then was horrible. But look at you now. Like I said, you've come a long way. You've made a lot of friends, and you've become better at controlling your anger. I know you're gonna be facing a lot when you move back to Wilford Heights. And I just want you to know that if you ever need anything, I'm there for you. I'll even talk to my friend Julie. I'm sure she'd help too.
Thanks, Jessica. I really appreciate your help. But this is something I have to work out on my own. I made mistakes there, that only I can fix. It's time I face the consequences of my actions. And all these people, who seem to believe they own the world.
I understand. Well, good luck, Paul. And if you ever want someone to hang out with over these last couple months, again, I'm here for you.
Thank you. I should probably get going now. It's getting late.
Yeah, me too. Well, see you tomorrow.
You too. Hey Jessica.
Yeah?
I think I'll watch the Spirit Games with you guys tomorrow.
That would be awesome, Paul.